Howdy ladies and gentlemen, this is Hypersonic 55 and welcome to another film review, and today's film review will be on the second film adaptation of the Judge Dredd character in the form of Dredd, aka Dredd 3D. So the story in Dredd goes a little something like this. In a violent futuristic city where the police have the authority to act as judge, jury and executioner, a cop known as Judge Dredd teams up with a trainee, Judge Anderson, to take down a gang who deals in a reality-altering drug known as slow-mo. And that's the story of Dredd without going into the area of spoilers. The story in this film was actually pretty good, and I was surprised how adult it was in nature. There was so much violence, profanity, drug and sexual references throughout, and I was like, wow, now I see why this film is an 18. The film doesn't hold back on its chaotic nature at all, and I love it. The story is basically a drug bust once Dredd and Anderson reach peach trees, and from there it's all about the judge's ascension through the tower to get to Mama and take out her clan. It is a simple yet effective plot, though it is the characters of Dredd that really make the film good, and they are the best element of the film. Karl Urban as Judge Dredd was friggin' awesome. Before I watched the film I was worried that he wasn't going to be intimidated enough, but he was totally badass. He is a no-nonsense, by-the-books kind of law enforcer. Urban's performance was miles ahead of Sylvester Stallone's hilarious portrayal of the character in the 90s, and Urban's version smartly keeps the helmet on throughout the film, and he also has a dry sense of humour which I appreciated a lot. Olivia Thirlby as Judge Anderson was also pretty cool. Her character was much more interesting than I thought she'd be. Her character seems to be the emotional and relatable balance to Dredd's distant and sometimes emotionless personality. Thirlby does well in her role, and I was glad to see that she had some kick-ass action scenes as well. And Lita Headey as Mama, she was just cold, cruel, and one of those sort of antagonists that has that position of power where she doesn't have to do anything because she has underlings to take care of her work for her. Headey was pretty good in her role, and the rest of the cast did well in their respective roles too. When it comes to the presentation of Dredd, it's pretty good. There is a nice, gritty, desolate look about the film, from the wastelands of Mega City 1 to the scenes inside the Tower of Peach Trees. Another impressive thing about the film is how realistic it looks. The film implements CGI for the futuristic aspects, but unlike the 90s film where the CGI is just used at every given opportunity, in Dredd it's used appropriately for certain action sequences and the futuristic city known as Mega City 1, and those fancy slow motion sequences were pretty good. They look really fancy and colourful. The 3D element of the film, when used in those slow motion sequences, was pretty good, but otherwise I felt that it was invisible throughout the rest of the movie. And as I said before, the film is violent, very violent. There is a lot of blood, death and carnage in these action scenes, and I thought it was great. I wasn't expecting this sort of level of violence, but it was pretty darn good in the film. Now a lot of people like Dredd, and for good reason. It's a hell of a lot better than the 90s version. It's simple yet effective, and it's got lots of action, carnage and all that sort of good stuff that you'd expect in a good action film. But for me, the film seems to be missing like that sort of memorable factor that would make me want to go back and watch this film again. It's good, but there's just nothing special about it. There's nothing overly memorable about the action scenes. It's just good. It's just not amazing like I would hope it would be. But that's the only issue I have with the film, really. So in conclusion, Dredd is actually a pretty good film. It is proper brutal, got some great action scenes, and Karl Urban as Dredd is just fab. While the film wasn't anything special for me, I still say go out and watch it. It's a good time. Fans of the source material should be pleased, and if you're unfamiliar with the Judge Dredd character, I think you'll still enjoy it. For me, I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. Well, that's been my review, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you found it informative, and drop me a comment to let me know your thoughts on the movie. So until the next time, this is the Hypersonic 55 signing out.